Hello and welcome. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to play Chamber on Bind. We're going to do a bit of a longer series here. We're going to spread it out over the maps, and we're going to talk about TPs, alarm bot placements, generally how to play the character, when to be aggressive, when to not, about some plays and stuff that you can do with Chamber, how to play off your teammates, and hopefully you guys end up finding this video useful. Let's get right into it. Okay, we're going to be starting off on defense. We're going to be talking about trips that you can place on defense in order to hold map control and stuff. Basic trips. You can hold showers with a couple of different trips, you know, depending on how you want it. Don't really recommend putting it on the right here because they can sort of like come up and see it, you know, and just instantly break it. So you want it to be on the left-hand side right here. There's not really too much you can do at short, but this is a pretty default one. Is I like to put a trip here if the jet likes to dash up short, or if the raise likes to satchel in. Then you can also do something like this, like a bot here that will like catch them right when they come around the corner here. Then you can sort of like play off of it as well. Aggressive trips that you can do, as soon as the barrier goes down, you can do something like this, put the bot down just instantly, and then you can sort of play off of it and peek off of it into short in combination with a TP play here. You say you have your TP close short, and then the other one's back here. Your bot goes off, you take an early peek, boom. Super simple. Super easy kill. Aggressive shower setup, something you can do at the start of the round, maybe throw it across here. In combination, what I would do is, because I don't know if you guys can tell, but you see that little line at the back of the bot? The enemy can see that, right? If you're gonna do like this play where you put a trip on the other side and you fight off of it, something I recommend is like maybe you have your Astra put a star right here and recall it right at the start of the round. Just take it right back. Don't actually smoke off shower, but the recall, you time it and it will cover that little line on the bot, so they won't be able to tell that there's a bot on the other side, and then you can sort of just play off of it. You can play like right here, boom, peek into it. That's pretty much all the A site trips. You can be a little bit more creative with it. Maybe, you know, maybe they like to swing around tank and you want to, you can be really creative with how you play these trips. But I want to talk about the way you should, the philosophy of playing Chamber and the way that you should be thinking about playing Chamber on defense. So the way that I think about playing Chamber on defense is you have an aggressive setup at the start of the round that helps you net a pick, and then you TP back and play off your more passive setup. Like we talked about with this trip up here, this advanced trip, the aggressive play would be you do something like TP there and then TP back here to safety. And what you can do is you can have this trip in U-Haul here at the start of the round. You can do this where you put this trip down right as the barrier drops. You can peek off of this trip, get a kill, and TP back. And then you have your second line. So you should be thinking about it in lines. So you have your first line of attack, and then you have your second line of defense, kind of. So you push up, you take that early fight off of aggressive utility, whether it's your utility or your teammate's utility, and then you TP back into the back line and you play off of your defensive utility. Chamber is very, very unique in the way that he can do this. Like characters like Killjoy and Cypher, you kind of have to play the back line all the time, and if you let your teammates take the early fights at the start of the round, more notably your duelists. But Chamber can sort of do this himself and get away with it and make big plays off of it. First line of attack, first aggressive plays up there, you TP back, and now you can play in U-Haul right here. You can sit right here. When this bot goes off and slows somebody, boom, you can swing. A good tip for your TPs is you want to put your fallback TP into a place that you can kind of reuse, right? An even better spot than here would kind of be CT, because it's very unlikely that an enemy pushes up here. So this way, you can do your first line of defense here. Boom, you get a kill, you TP out, you come to CT, you pull your TP back, and then in 20 seconds, when you get your second TP, you can put your second TP in U-Haul. You can play off of this bot right here. You get a kill here, boom, you peek out, get the kill, boom. Again, you're alive. Now it's a 5v3. If possible, it depends on how aggressive you're getting and how far you're going to reach on the map, but if possible, you want to put that fallback TP in a place that can be reused. So you only have to pick up one of the TPs. You don't have to replace the TP every single time that you fall back. I know you guys have probably seen this tech before, but, you know, just being creative with your TPs, you can put like one TP in hookah, and then you can actually hit the TP, put the other TP here, you fight this crossfire with your team, you TP back to safety, but you can play both bomb sites with this TP, so you can actually TP from B cubby all the way back into U-Haul, and you can do this back and forth. So what I like to do on pistol rounds is spread my utility evenly. I like to put one trip at long B, And then I like to put my other trip in like U-Haul right here. Whoever's playing A, I like to have them play U-Haul to cover my TP. And then like if they're coming A, I'll TP back. We can play doubled U-Haul behind this trip, and it's a very, very strong defensive situation. So let's talk about B site trips. B site trips, you have a little bit more freedom. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with B site trips than A site trips, because A is mostly you have your aggressive trips, you have your standard trips. There's not a lot of creativity that you can do with them, but B site's pretty cool. So something that I like to do pretty much every single time I play B is I always have like one trip there. And remember, something that's important to note is the radius on the trips is important to pay attention to, because you can put this trip even deeper than this. Like I can put this trip all the way over here and it will still cover the entire entrance, and that makes it so much deeper, right? So like I can break this trip from here. I have to fully swing to be able to break that deep trip. So don't just put your trips right at the edge of things to make it easy for people to break them. You want to put them in spots that forces them to peek out and commit to actually break the trip. That's fairly standard. An aggressive trip that you can do is at the start of the barrier. You don't really need to do the star pullback like you kind of do with shower. I think you can pretty much just put that down like the second the barrier drops. There's no way that they can get there in time to see it. You can sort of peek off of this trip right here at long. You can do the same thing with this trip. You can play something like you have like a trip here and you can play back here with a TP. They swing up, they're stuck in a slow, you get a kill, boom, you're out. So those are a couple of long trips that I like to do. For hookah, you know, this one's pretty good. You just put it right under. You can also put it on top of this box. You can actually hide the trip inside of this little cushion right here. So when they try and come out of hookah, they get caught by the bot in the cushion. Problem with this is that a lot of the times raises like to bounce a nade off of this wall and to land over here. So unfortunately, sometimes this trap will get broken. So the better version of this is you can put it in this pillow right here. And this trip is very, very good for having your teammates teleport off of. So what you say is, hey, I've got a bot and hookah for you. You should TP and fight off the bot, whether it's you throw a raise nade first, maybe a Sova shock, whatever you got to do. But once this trip goes off, it means that the enemy team is like right about here. They're stuck in this choke point and they're free kills for your teammates. And you can also just do basic stuff like this and like this that have the same effect. If you've used this trip a lot and they're coming up and they're just pre-firing this and breaking it, because it's kind of out in the open, really. You don't really have to commit anything to it. So same concept, you know, they'd have to swing to break these. They're a little bit more susceptible to raise nades. That's the problem. So that pretty much covers most defense side trips. Let's talk about some cool aggressive TP plays that you can make. Chamber is great with a rifle and like when you're playing more defensively in a choke point, and he's also great with an op if you want to peek out and do stuff. But something that I like to do when I get my chamber op is I like to just put a TP down there at barrier, and then I like to peek out a hookah, take a shot, TP out. That's a great early pick that you can do. Something that I like to do is you should become familiar with places that you can play with elevation still. Put your TP here and you can still play on top of this box, and I love to catch people in this off angle. I'm good for one almost every single time I play this. A guy comes up, isn't looking at me, I get a free kill and I just TP right into back sight, and then I still have my hookah trips to play off of, and I can re-aggress. I can do something like pull this back, walk back up into hookah, my teammates nade and TP off of my bot, I jump back in, and now I'm crossfiring with my teammates and fighting with them again. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of freedom that you can do with chamber on the B bomb site, and a lot of cool little peaks that you can play. You can play a cool little off angle up here just to hold garden. Play up here, they swing wide, you mind game them a little bit, you put a bot close that they can see, they peek out, they break the bot that's right there, but you're up top, you kill them, TP back. Same thing with long. You got to be careful with crossing the long, but you can put your TP like right here and it covers almost all of the right side of long. So if you're using this op, you can push out and play an angle like this. And chamber is probably, in certain situations, chamber is better than jet with an op on defense, at least because of the absurd off angles that you can play. And I'll show you an example of this. Something you can do is you put a TP here, you have your TP back sight or whatever, and like it's very important to note on the radius at which you can actually TP with chamber, it's very big, so you can play some stupid off angles. So what I'll do is like barrier will go down and I'll push up to like right here, and I'll play like close and crouched in an angle that nobody will ever pre-aim when they come around this corner, and you can just take a shot, TP out, easy. There's so many like weird little off angles that you can do that with a jet dash you can't use, because a jet dash you have to be able to move laterally while not having your path blocked. But with chamber, it doesn't matter what's blocking you because you just TP out of this situation. You can do a lot of dumb stuff with your TPs. So like something else, like you would never see trying to think of an example of how you would never see a jet play. There's not a great example on this map because kind of all these angles are pretty free to get out of, but there's one on split that I love to do where you go out of vent and to the right and you just stand right in front of vent and that tucked in that corner. A place that you would never be able to dash out of if you were actually a jet, but you can TP right out of if you're playing chamber. He can be very, very free with his op and is very, very good. Now let's talk about attack side. We'll talk about trips first, then we'll talk about TPs again. Attack side trips, what I like to do on pistol round is I like to start every game with just this one trip, because this will, as you can see by the mini map, this catches all of this area. So they can't flank from cave, the trip will get them, and they can't flank through market, the trip will get them. The problem with this trip is that it's very, very known, very, very basic, and if they're playing a jet and he's fast flanking, he'll start smoking this trip and he'll get into your back line pretty easily. Some other defensive trips that I like to do that change it up a little bit is you think about it like cypher traps, is what I do at least. Put one right behind this box to cover long, and then I put one over here to cover the market flank. And this is if me and my team have talked about pre-round that we're gonna end on the A bomb site, I'll put the trips here. You know, if we think we're going B, I'll put one trip here, and then something I'll do is like maybe I'll put this trip like a little bit further out over here to change up the angle or something. But we have that second line of defense. It's pretty similar to cypher trap wires in the way that you do it. And you can also just put one like right here. This will catch people coming through here, and it will also catch them if they try and come around here and then through the back. This will catch them, but they can still go through cave all the way to shower. It's important to change up your tripwire locations round to round, especially if you know they're flanking. If they haven't really flanked and they haven't been caught by your trips and they're not seeing where you're placing them, then you should be fine. But also you just want to put them in a spot that's a little bit less known. And then as for TPs on attack side TPs are best in my opinion in post plant situations, so you can change up angles after kills, but it's also very, very good for taking like early engagements with say your op or whatever. So like barrier drops, you put this TP down and then you go out here and you post, and then this way if the jet wide swings you where they flash down long or they dart you and dash down long, whatever they do, you can just TP right out. It's much, much safer than a jet dash because you already know that you're going to get back to safety with the click of a button. For example, a situation that I like to do if like I see that Raze ult is online, the very, very popular TikTok ult is what I call it, is the Raze will get on top of this box pre-round, put a satchel down, pop ult, and then just come ult short. But if you have your TPs down like this at the start of the round and you're playing chamber, you can sort of sit here and challenge this angle and force this Raze to shoot a rocket early. If everybody just turns around and runs, usually this Raze will take all this map control and get into market here. But if I play up, I play short, I shoot at this Raze and I TP out before the rocket can kill me, then I bait her into using her rocket. She doesn't get the map control that she wants, and usually you can have like a teammate set up over here that you're baiting for who will swing after and shoot her in the back and kill her. So that's pretty good. In general, I like to think of using TPs on attack side in like two phases. One is your initial fight, the initial round map control that you take, and then the other TP would be for post plant, right? A good example of this that paints a pretty good picture on this map is I like to put a TP down here at the start of the round, and then say I'm fighting shower here, I'll just throw the other TP up here and I'll post on shower. You know, we work up shower, taking shower control. I come over here, I take the back TP back, post up here. So once you get into shower, now we still have this TP that we set up early for the initial round peak, but now I have it again. Now I can use it to take this next fight and use it in post plant, right? I can take fights into CT pretty safely, and if I whiff my shots or if I feel like I'm not going to win the gunfight, I can TP back to here, pull my TPs back, and now I can change up my angle and I can play post plant from short, and I can have more presence around the map. They see me take a fight over here, they're like, oh, chamber with shower, and then I rotate over to short, I play short with my TPs, and now I've changed up my angle and I've made it a little bit more confusing for the defense, and it's a little bit harder for them to retake the bomb site because they have to pay attention to more angles because they have information that I was somewhere that I'm not anymore. People always ask me, when do you use the Headhunter? I like to just buy the bullets whenever I have cash, and I just use the Headhunter and armor on anti-ecos. It's a very, very strong gun for getting early picks, and you can win a lot of eco rounds for your team just by having good aim and getting initial picks with it. But yeah, Chamber is very, very versatile. He's very, very useful. In my opinion, his best maps are Bind, Ascent, Split, Haven, and Icebox. I think he's very, very good in all those. It really just depends on your play style. If you like playing Sentinel and feeling like you give some value to your team, but also like being able to take aggressive first fights as like a duelist, I think Chamber is very, very good for that. As we see more one duelist metas enter the game, you know, I think Chamber will probably be played more in order to help pick up some of that firepower, some of that slack. Yeah, that pretty much covers all of bind. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys found it useful. Hopefully this helps you guys level up your chamber game on bind. If you like educational content like this, you know, I don't really post it too often anymore, but when I get the idea for something, I run with it. So I'll probably be doing other maps for chamber as well and talking about tripwires and TP setups and aggressive plays that you can make. Stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to like, comment, and if you want to talk to me live and you have any questions live, you can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Bumpaah. Click the link. It's in the description. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.